take it. You said, okay, in this position I'm gonna take on d2 and I'm gonna be alright. And this is something that you said. But you didn't even give a thought on the center, you know? Extremely important. Like, after you said, like, in the move 3, I want to fight for the center, that made a lot of sense. But here in this position where you're actually losing the center, you didn't make a comment on the center. You didn't say, well, the center is, whoa, look at the center. This is really strong, and then that's really dangerous, right? So that's something that you have to be thinking of. In this position, you didn't say, well, what's going on with the center? You said, I'm going to take on d2, and I'm going to be all right. But there is a problem of valoration, you know? Because you should know that if you take on d2, you're not going to be all right. What's the problem? The problem is that the center is too strong. Too much. So when you take on d2, I take on d2, let's say knight takes. In this position, you're not all right. What's the reason why you're not all right? Because, first of all, you have a pawn less than me. That's one of the problems that you have in this position. You're materially down now, right? You have lost a pawn. That's one of the reasons, but I shouldn't be concerned that much about the pawn as the center. Because what's the problem with the center in this position is that it is gonna be extremely strong and it's gonna be defended by other pawns, dude. So that's a lot of pawns controlling the center. And you know that the more in the center the pawns are during the opening and during the middle game, the better they are, because they are controlling more space. If you have more space, you have more mobility. If you have more mobility, then you have more actions, or you have more chances of getting into a position where you have tactics to exploit the position of the other guy. It is like the boa, which is embracing a body, and then it kills it, right? Like something like that in nature. So bishop d7 here, you should know that whenever you're losing the center, that's no good for you. Sometimes, okay, you have some compensation for the center, but in this position you have nothing, because your pieces are extremely, how to call them, inactive, are extremely passive. Your rook on c8, okay, it's on c8, but what are you doing with that rook? Your rook on e8 is on e8, but what are you doing with that one? Your bishop on f5 is out of the chain of pawns, but what are you doing with that bishop, right? It's really hard to play this position, if you ask me. So, e4, and see how I'm even consolidating my center even more. I could have played like d6 in this position, I guess, and I could have taken on b7 too, but I didn't think that was the best way to proceed. So I played e4 because the center was too much, and inevitably this was going to lead me to a position where I had advantage. Now I have to transform this central advantage into some tangible advantage, which is something like maybe material advantages or tactical advantages, which is basically when I sacrifice something and then I kill you, right? Bishop h7, because in this position you are not resigning yet because I haven't killed you, right? So I have to make you die. That's basically what it is. So rook d1, see how I'm improving the position of my pieces. And in this position you're saying, well, I'm going to h7, maybe I should try to defend my pawn on b7 because there might be some problems, and I agree with that. But it's really important to say something about the center, because it's extremely important, and it's extremely powerful in this position. So see how the last move you have, you said, well, I want to play bishop d5, but he has f4. And see how f4 is even helping me because I am defending my center even more. So see how what I told you before is just happening now. I have a lot of space, and now your pieces do not have like anything to do. They are doing nothing. They are just reacting to my moves. So that's something that you do not want to do. You want to be the guy who is making the other one react. You want to be the guy acting on the position. So e takes e5, e takes e5, and see this center is like the perfect center actually. This is what you want in chess, where you have pawns on the center and nobody is actually doing anything about them. Like, see how all my pieces are working on it. Everybody's just protecting the center. Everybody's just working on it. Everybody has like harmonious position, but still I'm not killing you, so I have to get to that situation. So here you're thinking, what do I do now? And I think bishop f8 is okay. And see how something curious is that you're not paying the consequences of bishop f8, for example. You're paying the consequences of allowing me to take on d5 and then take on c6, right? You're paying the consequences of having this knight on c6 and not being capable of playing actively in the position, right? You're paying these consequences, not now, you're paying it here, right? So you go backwards, and now your bishop goes backwards to prevent d6, in kind of a prophylaxis that makes sense. Now you have to hope for the best, hope I commit a mistake, and wait for the best, right? That's basically what it is. D6, the idea is that now I'm generating a pass pawn here, and I want to have something to act upon, which is going to be this pawn on d6, which I'll try to convert into a queen. So c takes d6, rook takes, and then I am trying to promote here with e7, right? Extremely annoying. Queen d7, queen d4. The idea is that now I'm taking on a7 and threatening stuff on g7 so that your bishop is not going to move. And I'm forcing you to generate that ability here. Because even if your position is crumbling apart here, there is not an obvious way yet to kill you. So I need the abilities to act upon them. In this position, as I played queen d4 and you played b6, it is okay that you're defending the pawn on a7, but at the same time I'm playing b4, b5, and then bishop c6, you know? Which is basically taking advantage of this ability that you're creating on c6. If I get to put a bishop on c6, then my pawn on d6 is gonna just advance and promote. So that's my idea. In this position, bishop a3, rook c8, probably rook d8 is a little bit better, because you're stopping me from doing anything here yet. But even then, it's just like waiting for that to come and hope for the other guy to commit a mistake. So maybe just bishop f5 makes sense, with the idea of playing bishop e6 and then trying to stop me from advancing this pawn might be a good idea. You played rook c8. You said, well, I want to take advantage of this file here. And the problem with taking advantage of this file is, one more time, what are you doing with that? Okay, you're taking the file, but then what? It's like as if you were, I don't know, on a trip or something, and then you go and you said, well, I'm here, but now what am I going to do? Like if you decide to get out of your city, and you say, well, I'm going to go to this city, and then you get there, and then what? Why are you going there? What's your objective? Are you going to go for businesses? Is your idea to be, I don't know, a tourist there? What's your idea, right? If you're going to move your pieces, there should be an idea behind them beyond I'm going to go there. There should be something about it. So bishop f5 makes sense because you're stopping me from playing something like d7 in the future, and you're making it harder for me to play. So bishop f5 makes more sense. Rook c8, dubious, you know? I hope you can hear me because I'm not quite sure. Perfect. So b4, rook c2, and see how even though b4 seems like a move which is stupid, then I'm playing just b5. Oh, you see? You understood the move. And now b4 is coming just b5. You took here. And now see how my position is just perfect. I'm just gonna play d7. Probably rook e8, followed by rook probably rook e1, followed by rook e8 is one of my ideas. And now here you're thinking, well, maybe I should give away my rook for the bishop, maybe I should take on d6. Now it's extremely hard to play your position, because no move seems to be doing anything, right? You recover the pawn that you had of disadvantage, but even though we're materially equal, dynamically, the position is just crumbling apart. So you have to do something about this. But there is no moves now, because you're paying the consequences of the things that you did before. So in this position, what do you do now? That's a good question, right? Do you take on b2 and play something like rook takes b2, queen takes b2, and then you take on d6? But what's the problem with that? That I can play just queen d4, for example, and then you're losing the bishop. So what do you do here? That's a good question. Do you take on d6? But if you take directly, then you're losing because I'm taking on g7. What do you do now? Do you play bishop f5? Do you start to, I don't know, to play bishop e6 and keep your rook defended if anything happens, and to try to stop me from playing d7? I don't know, it's really hard to tell what to do in this position. What are you going to do? That's extremely annoying. So how are you going to stop me from playing rook e1, bishop f5, and then bishop e6? And that's basically what it is.